Welcome to the Tech and Accent podcast.
Here you will learn about being an expat, working abroad, technology, and more from no-native English speakers. Let's get into it.
Welcome to another episode of Tech and Accent, and today we have a guest from the Netherlands, and I'm really happy to have her with us today. Welcome, Dani.
Hey, Alekson. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the invitation. And yeah, let's have a chat.
Yeah, so I didn't want to mention where exactly you're from in Netherlands. So if you could tell us where you're from originally and where you're located today and a bit of yourself.
Yeah, sure. Just first of all, let me apologize to the people who are listening because I caught a flu and my voice is not the best, but yeah, let's do it anyway. My name is Daniane. I am from Brazil, from the same state as you, Rio Grande do Sul. Not the same city though. I'm from Caxias do Sul. And currently I am living in the Netherlands, working as a software engineer, Java, and I am kind of a DevOps wannabe, working with AWS and stuff. Before the Netherlands, I was also in Portugal, and before Portugal, I also spent a year in Sydney, Australia. And yeah, I am in tech for a long time, since I was 16, more or less, and now I am 37, so it's been a while.
Oh, no way that you're 37. I really thought you were younger. And that's good. And and since 16, that's nice. It's all the gauchos in the world doing great.
Yeah. I was fortunate enough to have an opportunity when I was a teenager because I started in a IT company. I was the receptionist, but I had a lot of free time and I wanted to understand what they did in that company. So I learned HTML. I think most of us start like this. And they gave me this opportunity to become a software engineer, a developer. And here I am.
So you started in the same company as receptionist and became a software developer?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. So you said that you lived in 3 countries, Portugal, Australia, and now the Netherlands. Was it all IT or how was your story? If you could tell us a bit of the 3 cases.
Yeah, sure. The first one, Australia, I got a scholarship. There was this government program, Ciências Sem Fronteiras, Science Without Borders. And I was really lucky. I got a scholarship. I spent a year in there. I did part of my graduation in there. But yeah, it was just a year. It was for a limited period. And then I went back. Some years later, I moved to Portugal. And I was also working with Java in there. And then in 2020, I wanted to leave. Things were not great. I think for nobody was great in 2020. And I started to look for opportunities outside of Portugal. So I target 3 places that I liked. London, Berlin, and the Netherlands. It could be Amsterdam, Eindhoven, Rotterdam, one of the major cities. And I did interviews for the 3 of them. And yeah, the Netherlands gifted me with a job offer. And I moved here, me and my husband.
Oh, that's awesome. And what is the thing that you most like in the Netherlands? Starting by the Netherlands, and then we can go to the other 2 countries.
Yeah, I have a friend who is always joking. He says, "I came for the weather, and I stood for the food because the weather is terrible and the food is also terrible." But I think the Netherlands has good things to offer. For example, it's very organized, and that's something that I really appreciate here. So if you have to deal with government, which is most of the time a pain, it's okay here. It's pretty different from Portugal, for example. They don't have many bureaucracy here, so it was pretty easy, and I really like the efficiency country. I also love the fact that you can bike everywhere. They have this concept of 15-minute cities. So within 15 minutes, you can reach the things that you need for your daily life. For example, grocery store, some pharmacy, this kind of basic things. And yeah, most of the cities are built this way. So yeah, I really like that.
And how about the other two countries? What is the two things that you most like?
For Portugal, I think the touristic aspect, because Portugal has a lot to offer if you're a tourist. And Australia, Australia has a very special place in my heart. It was my first experience abroad, so everything was great. But I think what I liked the most was the Australian way of living. You know, they are very chilled. They don't worry about stuff. They walk barefoot in the streets. They are good vibes, and I really appreciate this mentality.
I wish I could walk through barefoot in Montreal, but it's
I mean, you
sliding
can.
everywhere. Yeah. I guess in Netherlands it's the same.
Yeah, but here I think for different reasons. I think here because of the rain.
Oh,
So it rains a lot. So things can get muddy. So
it
yeah.
seems it seems that it's more like Vancouver, where I was last week. It's no snow, but it was raining all the week. But at least I could walk and no umbrella, so that is acceptable for me.
Yeah, I don't know Vancouver yet, but yeah, from what you're saying, I think it's similar. But here we also have wind, strong winds. It's windy all the time. So yeah, forget about umbrellas. It doesn't work here. Just put a hoodie on, a waterproof jacket, and yeah, be brave, go outside.
Yeah, that's a bit of nostalgic for me, because I think I never had an umbrella in Montreal, and now I remembered that in Brazil, in Porto Alegre, when it was raining, I used to almost lose the umbrella. I never had that anymore, so almost forgot.
Yeah, in Brazil, we have these strong rain showers, right?
Yeah,
And here is just a drizzle. I think drizzle is the word. It's not heavy rain.
yeah. So I don't know the word, but I will
Yeah,
search later.
Yeah, I'll Google later. Maybe this is a mistake. Yeah.
So talking about rain, that for the most of people it's not something good. Is there anything else that you don't like? You didn't say that you didn't like the rain, but is there anything in the Netherlands that you don't like?
Yeah, sure. It's not perfect. There's no perfect place. So I'm not a big fan of of rain, but it bothers me when the sky is gray for a long period of time. So this makes me a bit sad, a bit without energy. And another thing is the health system. For us, Brazilians, it's really different. You never go directly to a specialist. You have to go to your family doctor, and then they will refer you to a specialist. And sometimes it's difficult to get a referral. Sometimes it's difficult to get, for example, you want. I had back pain a while ago, and I thought it was a hernia. And I insisted I wanted MRI to confirm, and they said no, you are not getting an MRI because it doesn't look like hernia. So for us, I think it's difficult to accept that. And yeah, I'm also not a big fan of the health system.
Yeah, I guess I read complaining about this issue here in the podcast before, because in Canada it's the same. But yeah, we have exactly the same story.
And you have a family doctor? Was it easy to get one?
Yeah, so I have. My wife, she's from Quebec, but she went to live in Ontario, that's Toronto. And when she came back to Quebec, she had to enter the line again to wait for a doctor. So I think she spent like 3 or 4 years waiting for a doctor. I spent like 3. And
3 years?
Yes.
Oh.
So we were waiting. I received it first, and then she was happy. And then the doctor sent a letter saying, okay, now I'm going to private. I'm not working in the public anymore. So now she's in the line again. Like, this is so annoying. And at least you're not in trouble. You have like walking clinics or hospitals, but you don't have the family doctor. It's like we are short in professionals here. And yeah, this is maybe the thing I most dislike in Quebec.
Yes, wow, that's a long time, really. It didn't take me that long to get a family doctor. It was just one email and let's say a week, and yeah, I was in. But yeah, I can imagine why you don't like this, because 3 years, it's a lot. And what happens if you are sick?
Yeah, so maybe I already said about this, but for the ones that didn't listen, and not in this episode, and you, of course, you don't know this story. So I went to the doctor like 2 years ago, and I said, hey, I don't have energy. I don't feel like waking up well. Like something is wrong. I need help. And to go to the doctor, it took me 30 days at least, trying to book and waiting, and it was so hard to book. The system online was not working. So I arrived in a Sunday that I was surprised they were working on Sunday. And it was a clinic, not a family doctor. I didn't have the family doctor. So this doctor, he was there. He spent like 10 minutes max with me. And he didn't want much give his attention to me. Like, he was just treating me like, okay, you are next in the line and let's go because I have others. And I was like, hey doctor, I need to see what is happening. I'm not feeling well. And then he said, okay, I will ask you to do 3 exams. So you do 3 blood exams, glucose, cholesterol, and the other one I don't remember. 3 basic ones. And he said, if you don't hear from me anymore, you are fine. You don't need to worry. And then I left. I came home and I never heard about him anymore in my life. So yeah, that was like, no way I should accept something like this. And then I took my money and I paid an online doctor in Brazil that asked me like 20 exams in the blood. And then I went to the public again here and I said, hey, my doctor in Brazil is asking me this. And then the other doctor said, and this doctor seemed to be like a young doctor that was just graduating. And he said, I never saw a list of exams as big as this. I don't think you need it. And then I said, no, but my doctor is asking me. And in the end, I did it, and she found a problem like in my kidney or liver. I don't remember now, but it was like inflammation. And also my hormones were not balanced, and it was because the pandemic and the lockdown that we didn't have workouts and we didn't have anything here. So she found it by doing a simple exam that nobody was asking. And today I'm feeling the best ever because I found it by treating myself. But yeah, I was really frustrated with all this, and today I'm fine. I found a private doctor here that is also helping me. So yeah, we have to learn. It's in Quebec, it's really hard.
Oh, sorry for that. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I think it's hard for everybody then. I thought it was only here, but apparently it's not.
yeah, that's the good part of talking to people around the world. We share stories and we realize that sometimes our system is not that bad. I don't know how the expression is, but it's like, I think in Brazil, when you say something bad, the other person try to say something even worse. That was not my intention here. It was more to bring awareness of yeah, here we also have problems, but I think in Brazil it's really common to say like, oh, my job is not good, and then the other person is gonna say, oh yeah, mine is even worse than what you are saying, because you try to compete in being in the worst situation. Like, I don't know if you realize this, but it's really common.
Yeah, but I don't feel like this with you sharing your experience. Don't worry. It's more like really sharing, because we are in a vulnerable place and we share what we've been through, and I think it's kind of comforting, because when you are an immigrant, when you are an expat, you feel really lonely in the world sometimes, and then when you listen to other stories, similar stories, you realize, okay, it's not just that I have bad luck, but it's because it's really like this for everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially immigrant. And talking about the immigrant and coming back to you, did you have any cultural difference that you found in the, not only in the Netherlands, but everywhere that you've been?
Yeah, we always have cultural differences, but in the Netherlands, something that is unacceptable to me is that they have sandwiches for lunch, and it's not even a good sandwich. It's sometimes bread and butter. So for me, it doesn't make sense. So sometimes my company, they say, oh, come for lunch, and for the first times I was there, okay, let's go, free lunch, let's go to the office then, and then you arrive and it's sandwich. So for me, this is not lunch. For me, I cannot accept that. So I think it's what shocks me the most.
And I guess they eat in 5 minutes and they are done.
Yeah, they don't take long lunch breaks because they want to leave early. So yeah, and for us in Brazil, we need at least 1 hour with a hot meal, a proper meal, salad, carbs, and meat maybe. But for them, it's just bread and butter, and sometimes chocolate sprinkles. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
At least this helps to be healthier, because when I used to go to Brazil restaurants, I always was overeating. I don't know you, but the buffet in Rio Grande do Sul was really good.
Yeah. Oh, every time I go to Brazil, I have to go in a diet before. So I lose some weight to refill in Brazil, and I really miss cheese, you know?
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm talking about, I think.
Yeah.
These huge hamburgers, yeah, we don't have those here.
Do you know why is it called cheese in Porto Alegre?
Is it because of cheese,
Yeah.
and then someone said wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a surprise for me. So,
Yeah, it's funny.
talking about Brazil, is there anything like, of course, family and friends and cheese? But is there another thing that you miss from Brazil?
Yeah, of course, family, friends, and cheese. But I also miss, yeah, I miss the people. I miss the fact that most of the time people are willing to help you. Yeah, they are more warm. Even in Rio Grande do Sul, we are famous for being cold, but even there, I think people are more willing to help. Yeah, I miss that. And another thing that I miss is the heavy rain to sleep, thunderstorm, heavy rain, because we don't have this here. We only have this ridiculous rain that it's only annoying.
That's really interesting. I miss this too, and even when it rains here, we don't hear because it's so isolated for the cold. Yeah, that's a good thing. So,
Another thing that I remember now, I miss pinhão.
oh wow.
Yeah, we also don't have that.
Yeah, I even don't know how to call it in English, but I miss too.
Pine
Yeah, I guess so.
fruit. I don't know.
Yeah. So we have a classic question in this podcast that is the most embarrassing moment living abroad. So if you have one to share, it's your time.
Well, I have a collection of embarrassing moments. Embarrassment is my life. But let me talk about one that happened here in the Netherlands. So I had a friend, a Brazilian friend, and it was his birthday. And I went to the liquor store to buy beer because he's into beer. So I got a nice box with beer and glass, and there was some things written in there, but I don't speak Dutch, but back in the time my Dutch was even worse than now. And in the box said something like "Gelukkige Vadersdag," and okay, I found it nice. I bought and I gave to him. And then we had a Dutch person in the party, and he asked, "Wow, what is written here?" And the Dutch person translated, and it means Happy Father's Day. And he's not a father. So I was really embarrassed because, I don't know, it looked, I felt silly by doing that.
I can feel your pain. It's like language is really hard.
Yeah,
So
there was.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, please.
No, there was another time that I trained, I rehearsed to order bread in Dutch, and I was there standing really confident, and then I said in Dutch, which is something more or less like ik wil graag en deze meergranen, focus in the alsjeblieft. And the person didn't understand, and then I started to cry. And he was, "You don't need to cry, what is happening?" And then I was, "Oh, it's nothing, it's just my eyes." It was also really embarrassing.
So, are you speaking Dutch today?
No. I don't know, man, but Dutch is really difficult, and I don't need Dutch most of the time. but I am studying. I'm taking classes, private classes now, like one-on-one classes, which are being more helpful.
Mhm.
But I don't know. It's just so weird. Yeah, I still don't speak Dutch.
Yeah, I thought you were speaking because you have a different sound on your mouth when you say the R. That seems hard.
Yeah, it's the G. This.
Huh.
It's like you are like as you're scratching your throat, you know. So I'm trying to make this sound right, but I'm sure it's terrible.
Yeah, when I speak French, I have a difficulty to say je peux. And if you, oh, I almost said in Portuguese now. My brain had a gap now. But when I try to say I can, people can understand bad stuff from this, and it's really hard for my mouth to say the right way. My wife is always correcting me. Now she gave up a bit, but language is something really interesting that could create embarrassing moments.
Yeah, indeed. And you said your wife is from Canada, right? So do you speak French at home, or
Yes.
is it English?
At home, no. At home, I tried 1 month before my test, and we tried hard because I wanted to be good for the test. I had to do a test to become a resident here, and after I got my test results, I gave up. But when I meet her family, it's always French, but it's a hard French. Like I would say French people from France would complain. They wouldn't understand everything because the accent and the words that they use. So I'm kind of getting fluent to be able to talk to them in French, and this is a big accomplishment because it was not easy at all. It was a really painful moment to learn the French.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's not easy, and when you have 3 languages in your head, in your mind, then you start to glitch, and then you don't speak Portuguese or English or French anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking before, and I said almost recordar in Portuguese, but it was gravar, the right word. It's really messy in my mind now. So talking about languages, let's talk about programming languages. So you said that the golden language that brought you to another country was Java, right?
Yes, exactly. So,
could you tell us a bit?
Yeah. Well, back in Brazil, I started with PHP, and I also worked with some things that I'm not proud of. Some pretty old things, like Oracle forms, probably you never heard about. There was some low-code tool called Genexus, but most of my career was Java, and it's the language I like the most. Then in Portugal, I was also doing some Angular, but come on, who likes front-end? I hate it. The front-end people will hate me for that, maybe. But yeah, I'm not a huge front-end fan. So Java is the major language in my career. And recently, I am embarrassing myself also with DevOps stuff, infrastructure stuff on the cloud. But yeah, that's something that I'm just a junior, and I have a lot to learn, and it's difficult for me.
But still, you're a senior because you know Java and now you're knowing DevOps. So you're getting even more senior, generalist or T-shaped professional.
Yeah, that's something that that was my goal, actually, because I am always afraid that I will be fired and that I will have no money to pay the bills, that I will lose my house, that nobody will hire me because I am a woman, I am 37, and we have an expiration date. So it seems in IT, like 40 seems to be the deadline to get out of IT, but I don't want to get out of IT, and I hope I don't need to. But yeah, this is always in my mind. It's always on my mind. So I try to get better on different things. I try to learn more, so I remain employable. So that's the main reason.
If it helps you, the best guys that I worked here in Canada, they were like 50 more, maybe 45 more, and I always will remember them. Like, I felt like really someone that didn't know anything sitting beside them. I don't think 40 is gonna eliminate us.
Yeah, I hope not. But in Brazil, it's, for me at least, was weird. It was not common to see people 40 plus in IT.
Mhm.
I don't know if it was just my bubble, or if it's really a thing. But yeah, I was always afraid of that, and I am still afraid.
Yeah, in Brazil, the only image I have about older people was the guys from COBOL. I think they were like 60s more, and they seemed really intelligent. So when they were walking, I was like, oh, these guys, one day I will be like them.
Yeah, but you see, it's always a guy, so I don't know.
I have
Yeah.
a woman working with me. I think, I don't know how old she is, but she has family and sons. I would say she's 40 more. She's amazing. So yeah, I also saw a woman, and I'm really happy to work with her. Sorry, Angela, if you get offended for the 40 more, but I think I'm almost 44 more too. So yeah, I think it's normal. It's the new 20 of IT.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. So if you have to teach someone, like someone wants to go to all the places you've been, and they want you to tell them, how can I do the same? What should I prioritize? What would you teach them?
Yeah, of course, every person has a different journey, and it's not linear. So for me, it was this way. From some other people, it might be completely different. But I think the one thing we have in common is English. So I would say try to speak, try to learn. It doesn't need to be perfect, but yeah, I started to study English when I was adult. I mean, teenager. But it was not easy to me, and still sometimes I'm not fluent. I glitch. But today I feel kind of comfortable. But I remember it was not easy, and I always felt dumb, silly, trying. But I'm glad I didn't give up. So I would tell people that focus on English, and yeah.
English is one of the main motivations of this podcast. That is, we're talking here, we maybe did some mistakes, and that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have a perfect English. There are people who speak a lot better than me, but I think I can communicate, and I think I can understand what I need to understand to my job. I think I can keep a conversation. So yeah, it doesn't need to be perfect, but we really need to speak. Otherwise, we get rusty and we will never speak.
Yeah, that's a great advice. And I hope people listen to you because it's a really great advice. So we're almost in the end. I would like to ask you the last question. So if you have a final message to the public, what would it be? I know you already said what to learn, but like a final message together with this.
I will keep in the accent subject. But yeah, in Brazil, most of the people don't speak English. We don't learn since we are kids, so it's not easy for us. And sometimes, for some people, English is a symbol of power, gives you some status. So probably you're gonna find people who will try to make you feel uncomfortable with your English because they want to be more powerful than you. But don't listen to them. Don't let them get into your mind, because everybody can do it if the person practice. And you don't need to talk perfect. You don't need to mimic an American accent. You can keep your accent. It's not a problem. So yeah, and if you are one of these people, like the accent police, the English police, just don't be this a-hole. Don't try to make people uncomfortable. Don't think you are better.
I just thought, don't be the accent asshole.
Yeah, I didn't know if I could say asshole.
Yeah, I felt you wanted to say something similar and I brought it. Yeah. And that's another great advice. Don't be the accent asshole and be confident to speak. Thank you a lot for your time, and I'm also sick, you are sick. We have our social distance here, but it was really great to talk to you, and thanks again.
Yeah, thank you, Alekson. Likewise, it was nice to talk to you. Thanks
for the
invitation.
Likewise. I'll see you next time.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
This podcast was edited by Ralf Carneiro.